in the middle of it. And then she turns around and puts it, and when I read it, it says, "Please say yes."
Richard Gere wasn't just Hollywood's silver-haired heartbreaker. He was the man who turned Pretty Woman into a fairy tale everyone fell for. He had that rare mix of charm, grace, and calm confidence that made every scene feel electric. But now, at 76, that polished image has cracked wide open. Gere just dropped a secret he kept buried for decades. He quietly loved 5 actresses, women he called American angels, the kind of beauties everyone admired but few dared to approach.
I remember Julia came to see me in New York, and he said, "Richard, she's good. She's good, you'll like her. You like her, she's good."
And wait till you hear who made that list. At the very top, Julia Roberts, the woman who completely threw him off his game, not because she's the biggest star, but because she's the only one who made him forget he was acting. Their chemistry in Pretty Woman wasn't scripted. It was real, it was magnetic, and it came straight from her. Gere once confessed that being around Julia felt risky in a way acting never was, like she could see right through him. The moment that changed everything came long before the cameras even rolled. During a quiet rehearsal at a small restaurant table while they were running lines, Julia casually reached under the table and traced her fingertip across Gere's palm. Slow, soft, and intentional. It was subtle, but it was the spark that changed everything. It was her method, a little acting trick to build emotional tension, but it hit Gere like a real shock. He later said, "She did this tiny thing with her fingers, and suddenly it wasn't a scene anymore. It was us." That single moment made him realize just how easily Julia could pull him out of character and into something that felt real. What made it even wilder was how natural she was about it. She'd laugh, lean in close, brush his arm without thinking, and lock eyes with him just long enough to make him forget every line he'd memorized. Crew members started whispering about their crazy chemistry. One cameraman even confessed he stopped filming for a second because it felt too personal, like he was intruding on something he shouldn't see. Richard couldn't help but admire her mix of innocence and boldness, the way she used raw emotion instead of acting tricks. She wasn't sharp-edged like Sharon Stone or quietly intense like Diane Lane. Julia was open, warm, and completely genuine. And that, Richard said, made her the most dangerous of them all. Even now, he's admitted that if Julia had ever told him, "Let's disappear for a weekend," he wouldn't have asked a single question. He'd just go.
You guys are perfect together.
We had such a good time making that. It was really kind of a magic moment.
Then came Sharon Stone, the woman who turned danger into pure desire. Richard still remembers the exact second she entered his life because his whole body reacted before his brain even caught up. No polite introductions, no small talk. Sharon just locked eyes with him and walked straight across the room with that unstoppable energy that only she has. She reached up and with one slow, deliberate move, brushed an invisible speck off his shoulder, then flashed a smile that felt like a choice, not a coincidence. That was the exact second Richard knew he was in deep trouble. Gere later said, "Sharon didn't flirt like normal people. She hunted," and he meant that as the biggest compliment. But what really pulled him in wasn't just the spark between them. It was how Sharon worked. On set, she could flip from playful to laser-focused in a split second. One moment she'd be cracking jokes with the crew, and the next, she'd step into a scene with such intensity it felt like stepping into a fight. Richard once explained that Sharon could improvise a line so real it sliced right to the heart of the story. He said he had to stay alert around her, blink once and she'd steal the moment, and he loved that about her. Sharon never waited for direction. She became the direction. She'd move closer than the script called for, change her rhythm mid-scene, or challenge a director if she felt the truth of the story was buried somewhere deeper. And Richard couldn't get enough of that fearless energy. There was even a moment during rehearsal when Sharon suddenly grabbed his wrist mid-sentence and whispered, "Don't act, react." It wasn't scripted, it wasn't planned, but it hit him like lightning. That single moment taught him more about real presence than any acting coach ever could. Sharon wasn't just another co-star. She was a shock to his system, both professionally and personally, and that's exactly why he never forgot her.
like a big Italian family, big Spanish family.
Yeah.
And her grandmother was kind of the glue that held that all together.
Diane Lane, the quiet flame who almost made Richard cross the line. When two actors like Gere and Diane share a moment so raw that even the director starts wondering if it's still acting, something powerful is happening. That question has followed them for years, and Richard has never denied it. But what made Diane different wasn't wild passion like Sharon Stone's. It was her calm, magnetic pull. She didn't chase or challenge. She drew him in with a softness that somehow felt even more dangerous than fire. Diane had this gift. She listened so deeply that every word Richard spoke seemed to echo louder than he meant. Gere once said she could shift the whole emotional temperature of a scene with just one breath. The moment that changed everything came during Unfaithful. During a quiet rehearsal, Diane was supposed to deliver a line of guilt, simple, straightforward. But instead she slowed down, stepped a little closer, pressed her forehead gently against his and whispered, "Don't answer yet. Let it hurt first." Richard froze. No one had ever used silence on him like that before. That was Diane's power. She didn't perform from technique, she performed from emotion. He later confessed, "Diane makes you act with your truth, not your talent." For a veteran like Gere, that was both thrilling and terrifying. She'd hold his gaze a second too long, breathe in sync with him, or subtly match her tone to his mood. These small, precise moves made Richard feel seen in a way he never expected on a movie set. There was one take where Diane's voice cracked, not part of the script, but completely real. Instead of stopping, Richard reached out and took her hand. Diane didn't hide the moment. She let that raw emotion breathe, and for a few seconds they weren't acting at all. They were just there, together. That rare connection was exactly what Richard Gere had spent his whole career chasing. And it's why Diane Lane still holds a place in his mind he can't fully explain. Then came Michelle Pfeiffer, the woman who disarmed him without even touching him. Richard never saw it coming. Her power wasn't loud or showy. It was quiet, sharp, and almost unsettling. She didn't need to move closer or make contact. Just being in her presence made him feel exposed, and that alone earned her a high spot on his secret list. The spark started in a casting meeting back in the late 80s. Michelle walked in, sat across from him, folded her hands, and looked straight at him. No smile, no small talk, just a stare so focused it made him forget what the meeting was even about. 10 full seconds passed like an eternity. Her eyes seemed to read every hidden thought he had. Gere later admitted, "Michelle didn't have to say a word. I felt like she already figured me out." No one had ever done that to him before. And when they worked together, that energy only grew. Michelle's approach was exact, almost dangerously exact. She didn't rehearse just to memorize lines. She rehearsed to master emotion. That precision pulled Richard right into her world before he even realized it. Michelle rehearsed like a sculptor, cutting away everything fake until only truth was left. When she stepped into a scene, she didn't just act. She sliced through it with calm, graceful precision. There was a test scene where Richard tried adding a little improvisation, an emotional beat he thought might work. But Michelle didn't follow his lead with a scripted move. She took a sharp breath, let her voice tremble, and whispered, "Don't lie to me, not here." It wasn't in the script, and it hit Richard harder than any romantic gesture ever could. He was mesmerized by her control, the way her stillness had power, the way every tiny shift in expression carried weight. Gere once said privately, "With Michelle, you don't chase her body, you chase her depth." That quiet intensity made her impossible to forget. Then there was Sophia Loren, the untouchable dream he never outgrew. Richard didn't include her on his secret list because of passion or on-set sparks. It was something much deeper. Sophia was the only woman who made him feel something he hadn't felt since he was young. Pure awe. That moment hit him long before they ever worked together. It happened at a European awards ceremony in the late 80s. Sophia walked toward him, moving with that effortless Italian grace only she had. She placed her palm softly on his cheek. Warm, gentle, yet unbelievably intimate, and said, "You look too serious for a man with eyes like that." Richard was completely speechless. He laughed about it years later, but in that instant, he froze. Because for the first time, Hollywood's silver-haired heartbreaker was the one left breathless. A 40-something movie star, suddenly reduced to a nervous teenager under the gaze of a legend. But what sealed Richard's admiration for Sophia Loren wasn't that gentle touch on his cheek. It was how she worked. Sophia never forced a scene, never chased attention. She owned it through calm power. Her silence commanded respect, drawing everyone, including Gere, to match her level of truth. During a masterclass they both attended, Sophia told a room full of younger actors, "If you don't live with your heart open, the camera will know." Richard never forgot those words. He said that single line changed how he saw vulnerability. It shifted how he lived on screen. Sophia had a presence he once described as gravity. She pulled everyone upward, made him want to stand taller, dig deeper, and be more real. He once admitted privately, "I never desired Sophia the way I desired others. I desired to be worthy of her." And that's what made her unforgettable. It wasn't about passion or spark. It was about respect, inspiration, and something almost spiritual. That's why Sophia Loren remains the dream he never escaped. So now that Richard Gere's truth is finally out, the 5 actresses he secretly loved most, which name surprised you the most? Do you think any of those feelings were mutual? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with your friends. Your support keeps the drama alive.